welcome back, you guys, to another amazing night with yours truly, Sylvia Camille. And I hope you had a fantastic week because I sure did. It was very busy at the Continental Colony, and I made it through another week. And I have an encouraging word for you, which is encourage. All next week, I want you to give support, have confidence, and hope to someone. That's what encourage is, to give support, confidence, or hope to someone. So our guest tonight, oh my goodness, she's my soror. She's my life sister, Miss Adonica Board. A part of her mantra in her life, she's a mentor. So she is encouraging people to do certain things to live healthy. So I'm not going to waste any time, guys. I'm going to bring her into the studio. Hello, Adonica. So nice to have you on Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille.
Having me.
Thank you so much. Well, we're just going to jump right on in. First of all, guys, she's an entrepreneur, she's an educator, and she's a mentor. And she was born and raised in Texas, okay? Oakland raised. So first of all, let's tell everybody, how did you get to the ATL?
Well, I came out here for school. We went to Morris Brown together. So I came out here for Morris Brown. I actually came out here, I was in 11th grade. My mom sent my sister and I to Spelman, and we went to a summer program. And that was my first time, being away from home. And, we had several weeks being there. So afterwards, we had so much fun. I was like, I want to go to school in Atlanta. So I applied to all these schools, and actually Morris Brown was like one of the first schools that got back to me. And I told my mom I was supposed to go to San Jose State, and I was actually in the school. I went up there and saw my dorm room and everything. And at the last minute, I was like, you know what? Nope, I wanna go to Atlanta. So that's how I ended up in Atlanta at Morris Brown. And then when I graduated, I moved back home for about 10 years. And then I came back in 2004.
I love it. So you fell in love with the ATL, and most people do. It's just something that we have here that everyone falls in love with the ATL. So let's talk about your journey as an educator. You're currently an educator, yes?
Yes.
So how did you know you want to venture out into education?
It's been a journey. I actually, when I was at Morris Brown, I was in a dual degree program. So I was math and engineering. And so I think about maybe my junior year, I have a couple of issues I have mental health issues. So that's when I kind of first learned about it, when I got to college, about what was going on. So at that time, I had to change my major because I had really fallen into a deep depression. So I changed my major. And because my parents are educators, my mom and my dad are educators, and my grandfather's an educator, have several aunts that's in education. So I started leaning toward the education track. And when I got out with my math degree, I went home and just really dove right in. I went back to school and got my credential for teaching. I was coaching. I was doing volleyball, basketball, and track. So I just kind of dug right in and just started, hanging with kids and doing what my mom was like, this is your calling. So don't fight it anymore. Just go ahead and get in there. And for years, I was like, I would leave, but I would come back. And most of the time when I would leave to take a break from education, it was because of the politics behind everything. I think they lose focus of the kids. And for me, it was more of the kids, and for them, it was more of the politics and the political things that were going on. So I would kind of take a break, get my mental together, and then I would come back in. So I started teaching in 95, and I've been in education ever since.
And you are an awesome teacher.
Thank you.
Teacher. What challenges with COVID? We in the middle of COVID right now. So what kind of challenges are you facing as a teacher and with your students, and how are you all pushing through?
It's really been a challenge. When we first went into COVID and they were like, hey, we're going to go home for 2 weeks. And we're like, oh, okay, 2 weeks, that's fine. And so here we are a year and a half later, we're fully back into the classroom. But that first year in March, when they said 2020, they were like, hey, you guys, we're going to, stay out the rest of the school year. And then they kind of gave the code, we call it the COVID 70. So that means all students just received a 70. And we knew at that time that it was going to come back and bite the students in the end because they, didn't really learn anything that semester. And
Right.
then last year, we did the kind of hybrid, some kids were in school, some kids were at home. We had to teach to both. And it was really challenging to do that. And now that we're back and fully immersed into the classroom, we're seeing that COVID 70. We're seeing that the kids have really, we have a lot of gaps. So we're trying our best to teach the subject that we're supposed to actually teach at that time. Like I teach advanced algebra, accelerated algebra. So it's like I have all algebra 1 and then half of geometry in one semester. And then I have a geometry class that they kind of threw on me at the last minute. And I'm seeing that a lot of the kids they're not ready for that actual class. So I have to go back and actually, teach what they didn't learn to get them up to where they are. So it's challenging, but I keep pushing. My fourth block is, it's a mixture. It's a mixture of students that, have literally 0.4 and 3 GPAs up to 4.0. And then I have, ESOL kids in there that don't speak English and they throw them all in one class. So that along with, the COVID problems that we've had of students not really going to class and paying attention and getting the COVID 70, it's really been a challenge. So we are ready for this fall break that's coming up at the end of September.
I commend you. I commend any educator because I know being at school as an elementary administrator, there are a lot of challenges we face every day with COVID, but we are pushing through. We are pushing through. So when you were in school, was math your favorite subject?
Actually, math, it started with English because I really loved writing. And then I kind of started branching out to math and PE. Like I love because I played sports. So I did volleyball, basketball, and track. So I was like voted most athletic junior high and high school because I really loved doing sports because my parents were also coaches. But for me, the math is what kind of got me into wanting to do the engineering. So it was math. I stuck by the math, and I said I wanted to. I said at that time I didn't want to teach math, even though I knew I was going into the engineering. I still wanted to at some point get into the classroom and teach math.
Were you doing that? What other goals and aspirations do you have in the education field that you might want to accomplish?
Admin really wants me to be an administrator. And I just, I look at the work that they do that's not in the classroom anymore. It's like, it's not really helping the students on the level that I want to help them with. So my goal is actually to start a nonprofit. I'm actually starting to work on that now. I have a longtime girlfriend from junior high school. She runs her father's nonprofit. So we actually sat down a couple of weeks ago
and
awesome. Kind of did like a plan of what I need to do for my mission statement, my purpose, and how I want to move forward with this program that I want to start.
Oh, that's awesome. And at your school where you are now, do you have a mentoring group?
I don't, as far as me, I was a mentor there when I pulled my first couple of years when I got to the school and they were like, okay, we want you to start mentoring teachers. The new teachers that would come in or any new teacher that would be, that was new into teaching, I would start working with them and just, giving them the ins and outs, just making sure they're doing a lot of self-care. Because, sometimes when you're in it, you don't really pay attention to your burnout until it's too late, until you're to the point where it's like, I don't want to get up and go to work any longer. And so talking to them about how to have that balance of life and, work, it's, that's basically the goal that I always had is to work with the teachers on that. And then of course, my kids, I'm always working with them in school, outside of school, texting, we have Remind. So I try to make sure, hey, if you guys have any issues, hit me up on Remind. I have a lot of students that still come back and talk to me After, I've taught them freshman year, and now they're seniors, they're coming in and, oh, Miss Boyd, I don't know what I'm gonna do, about school, and I don't know where I want to go. And this is kind of scary. It's time for me to, leave the nest and, be kind of an adult, and I don't know about it. So it's a lot of challenges that the kids have. And I just want to make sure, I mentor them through it so they can actually make it and make good choices.
All right, I want you to reflect, because we are in September. So we've basically been in school going on 2 months now. So who was that teacher that motivated you, who mentored you when you were younger to get you to this point?
It's funny. I've had, many teachers. I had this one teacher in third grade. I actually had her in third, and I was lucky enough to get her in fourth. And I just loved her to death. She spent a lot of time with us. Like I went to her home, and we swam in her pool, and we hung out with her. Like it was a couple of us that we shared a lot of time with. And it was Miss Caps, and we spent a lot of time with Miss Caps. My mom, we just she would talk to you. If you had any issues, she was the person that you could go to. She actually was a retired nun. I didn't know you could retire from that, but she left.
That's it.
And then she went into education, and she was the one that I was like, I love her. Like, she is the teacher that I always went back to see. I made sure I kept in contact with her for a long time up until she passed. And Miss Caps was the one that kind of inspired me for the teaching thing. It's like, I think I want to be like her. I want to be that teacher that's real cool, and I could just talk to, kids can come and talk to me and not have an issue. If they ever have any problems, I'll be that person to come lean on. So it was always Miss Caps.
Awesome. I love that story. I know that your students that you serve each day, they're going to have a story just like you. You're going to be the influencer. You're going to be the motivator. So that's going to bring me into it, but talking about mentoring. How did you get into mentoring? And I want to know, with your mental health issue, did that kind of segue you into that?
Really, admin, they're always pulling me into something. So a lot of the schools that I've been to, admin always pulls me in and puts me with certain students or with certain new teachers, to help them with the mentoring. For me, I usually just take on students that I see. Some of them come to me about mental health, and because I've gone through that, it's an easy thing for me to, hey, let's talk about it. I struggle with that too. What are your issues? And then once they find out that you're human, a lot of the times they're like, oh, you're a teacher. And I'm like, I am human. I make mistakes. There's things that go on. And once they find that out, then they're able to actually, talk and open up. And that's where the mentoring really comes in for me, especially with any students that have a lot of mental health, which we do have right now. COVID has brought out a lot of things in these kids, not being in school, not having the social aspect of it. A lot of them have lost their social skills. So slowly trying to bring them back into who they are, knowing who they are, and then, bridging that gap so we can get them through school and then the next step.
What advice do you give to any educator who might be listening, or someone who has a child that needs some type of mentorship? What advice would you give them to tell them what they need to work on, or some suggestions, to some tips?
For most, because I know I talked to my sister and I, we speak a lot, because she has two teenagers. And, she's always trying to get them involved with things, to try to get them out. She wants them to make sure that she's giving them this enriched life. And for parents that have kids, that I would say, look for those programs online that you can get your child into, to kind of keep them active, to keep them going, rather than sitting at home. Or, when we were young, we went outside, that was fun to go outside and play. But then, we have to look at where we are in this world. There are a lot of people that you can't really send your child outside by themselves and not pay attention to them, because you may not see them any longer. People are it's a little different from when we were young.
Oh, we were young. That's true.
So, finding those programs and looking online and finding things that your child is interested in, and to get them involved and meeting people, big brother, big sister programs, things of that nature that will help your child kind of flourish a little bit more, especially for those kids. Like, we have a lot of kids at school that are to themselves. They don't ever speak. So, they're slowly getting into, playing volleyball and, getting into the band. And, they're trying different things and you see them blossom, you see them start coming out of their shell. So just finding things that your child will probably hopefully gravitate to that will bring them out of their shell and actually, a mentor that can help them go through that.
What is your biggest reward you feel when you see a child's face that glows or smiles, that you know that you have important into them?
You said, what is my
biggest reward you feel?
Reward. It's just that.
That's what I asked you, huh?
is that, when you see kids, I have a lot of kids that they come in and they're just angry for whatever reason. And I'm really goofy and silly in the classroom. I'm like dancing, I'm making up songs that don't make any sense. I'm like, you guys, when I become platinum, when I get my platinum album, I'm not gonna forget about you little people. They're like, with that voice, you're gonna go platinum? Yes, honey, like don't hate. So, getting into them when I do that, sometimes you'll see a child who's always coming in and they start to smile and giggle. I'm like, okay, I got him. So now I can really start going over and talking to them more. So it's when I see kids blossom from being that sheltered person, and then finally, maybe by the end of the semester or the end of that year, see them in the hallway smiling, see them in the hallway, talking to other people and having a friend, it's really rewarding to see a child grow. And that's what I really enjoy about being in education, is seeing the growth of certain students, especially the ones that who you sometimes want to put hands on, but you can't.
You can touch them in another way. I love it.
But those, when you see them actually mature and grow, and they're like, "Oh, Miss Boyd, I know I was hard. I know I was that one." I'm like, "Yeah, at least you know." But once they kind of grow and you see they want to kind of get out into the world and be productive citizens, which is what we really want for our kids.
Yes. All right. So I want to shift gears and go ahead and talk about your entrepreneurship.
Okay.
This is what I want to read first on your page, on your Facebook page and your Instagram. What I love, it says, helping people educate themselves on how to improve their health and wellness and eliminate debt to obtain financial peace. We can break it down and let's talk about it. So first of all, how did you start your entrepreneurship?
Actually, this is something I've been doing for quite some time. I've been in and out of different businesses. My dad was in real estate. My mom and dad, they both were educators, but they did real estate on the side. So we've always had, real estate ventures where we've owned, we have an apartment building and we have some different, we have houses in Maryland. We had some in Maryland and we have some in California. So that was kind of the first thing, watching my dad do all of that. My mom and I, we used to have, we had a business where every weekend we would do vending. So we would go out and do vending. My mom made incense and we did bath salts and we had oils, aromatherapy. We had all those different things. And her husband's from Kenya, so they had a lot of soapstone. So we would go out and sell that. So that was like my first big venture with doing things like that. And that's what got me into doing the bath salts and the lotions and the oils. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to, when my mom was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of driving every weekend, because we didn't have a storefront, everything was in a van. So, and we would have to take it out every single Sunday or every single Saturday. And then I had a business with my sister and brother-in-law. We had a tutoring business right before, I can't remember the year, 2008 or 7, when the economy got really, really bad. And, parents just didn't want to spend money on, tutoring. So we had to kind of let that go. I had a hookah business for a while.
Oh, that was exciting.
Yeah, I had a hookah catering business. So I would go in and I would do parties. But some people, when you get to these parties, they get a little bit too many libations going on and things were falling and breaking. And I was like, I can't do this. This is wild. And then getting people to help me, it was hard to find people that kind of I took the time to actually service my party and finding people to actually help me service those parties. Some people don't want to work, and then they don't put because it's yours, you put a
Right.
little bit more into it
That's
than
so true.
others. So finding, someone to actually have that same energy as me was really hard. So I finally let that go. So, Donnie's Healthy Goods has been around since 2014, and I started that. I took a year off work because I had to have surgery. So I took a year to kind of have the surgery and heal. And while I was healing, I actually started the hookah and I started the Donnie's Healthy Goods. And the Donnie Healthy Goods started with aromatherapy. I had some workout equipment and I had supplements because I wanted to start something where, I started thinking about I'm getting older, I'm getting closer to 50.
Yeah.
I'm pulling muscles while I'm sleeping in bed. Like something has to give. Like this is not working.
I know.
It was not in the brochure that when you get older, this was what's going to happen. So I wanted to kind of make that change and start putting in the energy of changing me, for one, getting my mental, getting my health together, taking care of me a little bit more, but then also sharing that with other people. So that's why I started the business with that. And it was with drop ship. So I had a drop ship company, but then after a while I started seeing the dropship companies were charging so much, I couldn't compete with like Amazon and all those, the different ones. And at that time, eBay, that was really strong at that time. So, and then the company went out of business and they owned my domain name. So when they went out of business, I went online one day and my website was gone. So I had to like start it over again. I had to do another website. And now, it's kind of up and running the way I want. I'm actually doing my own, I have my creams and I have the, shampoo,
Yes.
body wash. I have all the things that I kind of want to get into eventually, having the supplements, cleansers, like all those type of things I kind of want to get into because I know that mentally you need that stimulation when you have good smells, when you smell good, when you're feeling good, all those things kind of go, all those
Yes.
things go together, so it's taken a shift from where it was before, but it's still, taking it like it says, healthy living one day at a time. You can't just jump up one day and be like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. It's really,
No.
it's a process.
Process.
So, that's one thing that I focused on what I wanted to do for myself. And then I wanted to share that with others.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful story. Now, anyone listening who's an entrepreneur, I want Adonica to give you some tips of, first of all, any tips to tell anybody what they need to do if they want to start their own business.
I've learned a lot. My sister and brother-in-law, they have some businesses, and watching them, I've learned that you really, because they work together, like I do a lot of the things on my own. So it does help if you kind of have somebody to piggyback off on with, like, okay,
Right.
should I do this? No, you shouldn't. Because when you're doing it on your own, you make these mistakes, you make a whole lot of mistakes. And you really don't have anybody to speak with, about what you should do. So I go to her a lot about the advertising and what do you think I should do next? And how could I do that? So having a kind of that group, that person, it could be just one person, but somebody that you can actually talk to, make a plan with, and then figure out the direction that you want to go and do your research. You have to do your research on what that niche that you want to put out there, because it's so many people doing so many things. And when COVID happened and so many people lost jobs, everybody started a business.
That's right.
Everybody started something. So a lot of people, made really great money because they went into what was happening at that time. When COVID happened, they're like, hand sanitizer, there's nobody, mask. So everybody started making masks, everybody started doing hand sanitizer. So you find that niche and you find something that's going to, sustain for a while, not just during a pandemic, or not just during certain things.
That's
and
great
advice. Just taking the time to do your research and get that person or that group of people, that can help you go through that process.
Now, I want to, since you are an educator, why do you think it's so important for us to teach our students about entrepreneurship?
It's funny. I was speaking to the kids about that today. I think it's great for kids to kind of know that the options that they have for, because a lot of kids just think, oh, I'm in school and I have to go to college. And not a lot of kids want to go to college. We have a lot of students at school that, for this world to run, they need to know that they can actually start an HVAC business. They can go and start certain things that we need. We need all these things, lawn care. We need all those type of things. And a lot of my school students at my school, they get a lot of on hand, they get a lot of work with their parents because a lot of them are Latino. So they have businesses, they have the restaurants, because they have that, that on hand experience, they understand that, okay, I'm going to get through school and then I have a plan afterwards. I'm going to go and work with my family and we're going to build this. But not all the kids have that. Right. So I think it's important for us to kind of put that. I'm at Osborne, and we have a program. We have the CETA program, which is Cobb County, and it teaches them about HVAC. It teaches them about welding. They have an IT program there. They have nursing. So they actually have all those things for vocational, but they really don't have anything to have them, teaching them about, okay, how can you get in here and make this a business for yourself? Yes. How can you be your own boss? And I think that's important for kids to actually know.
And I think the schools need to provide more opportunities or classes so that the children can see, like you say, it's more to the basic needs of running the world and just teacher, doctor. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it's so much more out here that they can have their own business and do well in life.
Yes.
I've got to ask you this question, Adonica, because you're into health, well-being. Now, it's a lot of controversy about the vaccination. Some people say we should get vaccinated. I am vaccinated because I feel like I need to do that being in the school. Right. So I just wanted to get your opinion on it and, how you feel if you want to discuss that.
It's been, of course, all over the news, and it's a lot of politics and people trying to throw religion in and doing all the different things with it. But I do believe it's a personal choice. In the beginning, I didn't want it. I was like, I'm not taking that. I am not going to be a Tuskegee project. I was like, I'm not going to do that. But after, like you said, I'm in the school.
Yes.
So, and a lot of the times, a lot of people get sick, the kids, they come to school sick, they come, you get the flu and it's like 10 times worse than what you thought it was going to be because 10 kids in the class have the flu, it's like, I knew working with kids that I would probably need to get it, especially since I have health issues. So I have a heart issue. I have two, actually. I have mitral valve and I have AFib. And because I have a heart issue, I was like, there's just no way. My respiratory is something that I need. I can't get sick and be, gasping for air. I need me. It's like I need to kind of get it together. And during that time when COVID hit and I actually wasn't feeling well, I knew I needed to get the vaccine, but I also knew I needed to get better as far as my wellness. So I went and saw an actual wellness doctor. She's a chiropractor, but she's a wellness doctor. And she helped me reset my body. So, getting rid of all the carbs and sugars, but also she did blood work to see the things that I needed to really work on. Like, okay, you have inflammation in your blood. That's not good. So that's go through and do these things. So now I'm on supplements. And even though I'm not seeing her any longer, I know what I need to do to kind of get myself back together. So the vitamin D's, I'm taking the zincs, all the things that I'm taking now that's for me to kind of keep my immunity up. That's helping me right now. So I think with the shot, I think you have to look at more of yourself. What do you feel for yourself and and then your family and then outside of your family, and that's the thing with this mask thing that everybody's like, we don't want my child in a mask, but then you don't want to get them vaccinated. Right. So now they're not vaccinated and now they're not wearing a mask and now they're around other people that if they get ill, say they don't have symptoms, but they have it and now they're spreading it along. And for me, that's an issue. Like you're not thinking about other people. And for me, I had to think about myself first, but then I had to think about the people that I'm around. I don't want to go to school and get my kids sick. I don't want to get my coworkers sick.
Right.
So it's that balance and that challenge with a lot of people, that I think that's why we're having this issue right now, because
Yes.
everyone has their own,
Everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone has their own opinion, and fear too. People are fearful of it. But I'm happy that you said. I want to ask you about this because a coworker of mine told me they went to a chiropractor and they got their body reset. So describe that experience. They aligned your body. Did you get on the table? I mean, I've heard it so many ways. I, I just thought about it. I was like, maybe I need to go do that too.
Oh, I love the chiropractor. And it's more, like I said, for her, because she's a wellness doctor. That was part of the wellness. The big part for her was resetting my body as far as the inside. So like I do a bone broth every day, 3 cups of bone broth, and bone broth helps with inflammation, and it helps with the with gut health. And then I drink apple cider vinegar with cranberry, no non-sugar, and lemon juice. And you do that like 2 ounces with 6 ounces, and you do that 3 times a day for morning, noon, and night. And that helps with gut health. So it was the inside, and then all these supplements that I'm on, which helps, cholesterol and all those things. So that, along with the chiropractor, which I love, I'm telling you, getting your body adjusted, you feel different. You don't, the pain that you have sometimes, you wake up sometimes, you're like, oh, I slept wrong. Going to the chiropractor and having that adjustment, it does, you kind of feel the release. You don't have that pain in your joints. You don't. So that, and then I would get massages. So she had a massage therapist there, and then they would do facial. So it was like everything. So it was a whole wellness center where you took care of your inside and the outside. And I just felt so much better. It didn't hurt to walk. I was getting shots in my knees. I didn't have to get shots anymore. I could walk up the stairs without any pain. I could sit for long periods of time or stand because I was getting those adjustments, and it was helping me get aligned. So it's something that you need to look into. Get your x-rays, let them see what you need adjusted, and start working on it, because it was the best thing for me.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I said, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to have to give me that phone number because I need all of this. And anyone who's listening to this show, if you're having problems, that's why I invited her to be on this show, because she wants everyone. That's her mantra. And I want us to break that down. I just love that mantra. Helping people educate themselves on how to improve their health and wellness. Now we've discussed that, and we're gonna circle back around. But let's talk about eliminate debt to obtain financial peace. I think that should be everyone's goal.
So it's over the years I've learned about there's a lot of things they don't teach in school, and that's the multiple streams of income, and things that a lot of people are really getting into stocks, and finding CDs and certain things that you can get. And I'm learning more about that. So I can, I eliminated a lot of my debt. Actually, I've gotten out of debt. And for a while, I had gone through bankruptcy, I have gone through all these things. And now I'm actually living within my means, and I had to learn that, to actually eliminate the debt, pay off all these bills, and now work on getting these different streams of income. I'm with this company. It's called Co-op Crowd. And Co-op Crowd is a crowdfunding opportunity where you can actually, you just basically, you just like any type of crowdfunding, you can set up crowdfunding for a business, and then people kind of give you money for that. And, they kind of donate. But this one is with a group of people, all over the world. We go to these meetings, and it's people everywhere from, Europe to Africa to the islands. They're from everywhere. And that program allows you to kind of come in, you meet a group of people that are all there for the same reason, and you bless everyone. So whatever you donate, that donation goes out to other people, and then you receive donations in return. So that's helped me kind of get out of debt too. People are in it because it helps, you got this community of people helping you get out of debt. So that, along with me trying to do some other things on the side with, my business, and looking at other multiple streams of income to kind of help me get out of debt. And I had to do the research for that. I had to find the things that worked, because I've lost money. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have done some things. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try it. It's gonna be great. And then I'm like, oh, that was horrible. And I lost
Well,
all this money. And then I have to start over.
mhm.
So just doing your research and finding those things that actually work for you. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people. Like when people say, hey, well, how are you doing that? Oh, well, let me tell you, come here, come to this meeting. And I'm still learning. I'm learning just as much as other people. So, but I still, whatever I know, I want to share that knowledge with other people.
I have to ask you this sometimes, because we are taught to go to school, like you said in the beginning. Why do you think it takes so long for us to realize that you can start early in life in our
Yeah.
journey with multiple streams of income?
Yeah.
And that's the challenge I have that I want us to share with all of, I think the millennials, they understand.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
understand. It's
Yes.
like, I can do this, I can do that. But
Yes.
our generation, I don't know what that is. And sometimes I feel sorry for us because I'm like, there are so many worldly opportunities
Yeah.
that we didn't take advantage of in our 20s and our 30s.
Yeah.
And we are now sitting at half a century.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
just now seeing this, and what's wrong with that picture?
It's you have to think about the times and where we are right now. When we were in school, I mean, I got a car phone for graduation. It's like we didn't have social media. Like we were excited that YouTube finally came out. We didn't have the things that they have right now. You can be an influencer. You can do this. You can do so many things. There's a lot of options. But you had other groups that were taught that at a younger age. For us, it was get a job and you stay at that job until you retire. And don't you leave that job. You need that job. No, you got a family. So that's what we were taught. But like you said, the millennials, they're not afraid. And because we've been taught and programmed that these are the things we're supposed to do, and we're supposed to, you do this and then you do that. We're afraid to kind of step out of the box. And a lot of the millennials and a lot of the kids, they're not afraid to do that. And it's getting our generation like, okay, let's just try it. But a lot of them, no, that's gonna put me back. I've done this for years, and
that's true. I'm not gonna put all my money fooling with y'all.
Exactly. So and that's the thing, is stepping out of that box and actually not being afraid to do it, because you never know that one time stepping out on faith might actually help you get to where you want to go.
So true. So that leads me to my next question. I have to ask all of my guests, what is your biggest dream in life? Because I am a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I think whatever you're thinking about in your life, whatever you want to accomplish, and whatever that is, I want you to share that with us. What is your biggest dream in life?
Really, my one reason for moving back to Atlanta was my nonprofit. I didn't do it at that time because I had moved here. I had quit my job. I was like, I'm leaving. Packed up my car and I came to Atlanta. So I had to start all over again. And I think the experience of going through the different schools I had taught I was a director at Ombudsman, which is an alternative school. So I taught the kids that were expelled from school. And that program was actually pretty great because it gave me a lot of ideas of how I want to do my nonprofit. So I think over the years, I'm glad I didn't start it when I first came, because now over all these years, I've actually learned what I really want to do. Right. And so that's my goal, is to have that nonprofit, to have, I still want to get into, of course, the entrepreneurship thing. I want a lot more property. I want to be able to just get up and say, girl, I'm about to go to Japan.
Snap. I love it.
I want to be to that point where I don't have to, take planes, trains, and automobiles to get to one place. Or I got to, you know what? In 2025, I want to go, to Australia. Let me start putting that money away now, paying a little bit at a time. So I want to be to a point where I'm financially stable. My mental is great. My spiritual is great. Everything has come together, and my nonprofit is flourishing, and I'm actually helping kids the way I want to. Outside of being in the classroom, I'm helping them, but that's not helping them the way I want to help them. And I know that's my passion. that is actually what I'm here for. My goal in life is to help children. So that's actually my dream.
I love that dream because we can't leave the children behind. They all need somebody there to
Yes.
encourage them. And that's our word of the week, to encourage them. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be motivating them. You're going to be mentoring them. You're going to be
Yep.
teaching them about their businesses, showing them different opportunities. So that's phenomenal. That is a beautiful dream. So I had to ask you when you said that's your main goal. So did you make a vision board? I know you did.
I
Because
do have. I have
so you
several.
had your vision board. Is that on your vision board?
Actually, on my vision board, I don't even have this crazy. I don't even have education on there because I know that's my purpose. I have all the other things, making sure that my weight is where I need it to be, and traveling and purchasing a new home and business, and I have money all over it, but I do need to add that to it. I know that it's my purpose. Which is crazy. A lot of people times they say, okay, what is your purpose in life? And people's like, oh, I don't really know. But I found out the hard, well, not really the hard way. Because I have AFib, I found out I was eating a sandwich and I wasn't feeling well. And all of a sudden my heart started fluttering. And I was like, why is my heart fluttering after eating a sandwich? But the sandwich didn't taste well. So I'm like, something's not right. So after a while, I couldn't breathe. So I had to call the ambulance, and the ambulance, they came, paramedics came. They was like, yeah, you're in AFib. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Because I was 30. Usually people in AFib, they're getting like in their 60s or 50s.
Right.
So they were like, we're going to take you to the hospital. And then, my mom, I had to call my mom, my dad, my sister, they all came to the hospital, and I could not breathe. I was like, okay, what are we going to do? So they finally, about 4 hours later, they said, your rhythm is not going back. We're going to have to do a cardioversion on you. And I'm like, what is that? And they said, we're going to have to stop your heart. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we're going to have to stop your heart. Mm-hmm. So, I had to sign there. I said, well, what if it happens if I don't do this? And they're like, well, you can have, a heart attack, stroke, or death. You can actually die. And I was like, well, okay, so what are the odds? What if I did do this? They're like, well, okay, the same, heart attack, stroke, or death, but at least your heart rhythm would be back where it needs to be. So I'm like, okay. So I had to sit, and my aunt works for Stanford Hospital. She's a biochemist. So she came, she was like, all right. She talked to the doctor, and okay, do we have any other options? So they went ahead. I had to sign some paperwork, and they put the leads on me, and they were, standing over me, watching the machine, waiting for my heart to stop. And I was looking like, what is really happening? And then they were shaking me. I just remember them shaking me, going, wake up, Ms. Boyd, wake up. And I woke up, and I was like, okay, what just happened? And she was like, you did really good. They put the paddles on me. They brought me back. She said, we had to hit you about 3 times. And once we got your heartbeat back, you were actually okay. And really that day, I woke up and I was like, I'm supposed to work with kids. Like, I just knew. That was like my near death. And when I woke up, he told me basically, your purpose in life is to work with kids. Stop running from it. Do what you need. Because at that time I was like taking breaks. I'm like, I can't do this. The teachers and the administrators, and I just can't do this. I know I'm supposed to do this. But then that was my wake up call. Yeah. That them, stopping my heart and bringing me back to life. That's when I knew that I was supposed to be with children.
That was your turning point.
Yeah, it really
was. We all have them in life. They, people talk about it in their stories, and that's why I love doing Sunday Night Live and having different people on here so we can talk about your journey. Mm-hmm. Within the last 40 minutes, anyone who's watching the show, they're going to hear your journey from being an educator and how it trans into mentoring, into your entrepreneurship, and just hearing this story here. With them having to do that to you, instantly when you woke up, God spoke to you.
Yes.
So like your purpose in life, yes. Not wavering from it, because what your dream is, it's doing that, and it's going to help millions of children.
Yes,
that's my awesome. Goal. Awesome. You touched on this just a little bit. So with all of this and all that you have going on, I know you deal with social emotional learning at school, but how do you balance all the work so that every day when you get up, you can be healthy and have well-being for yourself? So how do you balance all of this?
I had to learn, there was years that I still live for my holidays now. Like I'm still like, ooh, like
Right.
Labor Day. Right. When Labor Day, I'm like, yes, a day I get to sleep in. I was waiting for Labor Day. But I started I stopped taking work home. I
Mm.
literally, if I didn't get it done at school, it wasn't going to get done until the next day.
Oh,
Now, granted, I get there at 6 in the morning. I get there when they open their doors. So I work early in the morning. I get up at 4:30 every morning and I get to work and I do everything I need. I make my copies. I get my mental together and ready for them, to come in so I can actually be who I am. I want to help them. Now, usually I may go in and I'm dragging, but when they come in, I'm like, hey guys, I know you missed me. I missed you. They're like, you're so crazy. But that I go in and I turn it on as soon as I don't care how I feel. I turn it on for them because I know, like you said, that's my purpose. So I don't take things home any longer. I hike on the weekends.
awesome.
So on the weekends I go hiking. I go by myself. A lot of people say, why are you out here in these woods by yourself? I'm like, because I need my mental. I have to get out there and decompress somehow. I get massages. I get facials. I go to the movies, even if it's by myself. Sometimes I do it by myself because I need to kind of get away from everyone so I can kind of get my focus back in. And I meditate. So I do a lot of I meditate every weekend and sometimes during the week, depending on the week where I'm feeling like, I need to bring it in.
I got to bring it in. I love it. I love it. Now we're kind of coming to a close, and it's just so much. I have so much I want, but I want to bring you back though. I already know during Mental Health Month. Because I want to dig a little deeper. If anything you want, dig a little deeper during that month, because that's an issue that we know in our community and our culture.
They don't want to talk about.
They don't want to talk about it. So we don't have to bring you back. Bring you back.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. Some people run from it, but I understand that I know my triggers, and I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people don't really deal with it. And when they don't deal with it, they don't learn about the things that actually make them go to that point. Like, what are those things that are making you upset? What are your triggers? So you have to, and I don't do medication. That's what the supplements and everything are for me. For me, it's the supplements, the walking, the self-care. Right. So if you do the self-care, it kind of keeps you away from doing the meds that they want to put you on. They always want to put you on medication. So when you learn about yourself and learn what your triggers are and learn the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. Yes. And like you said, we don't talk about it, that we were talking, you're not going to no doctor. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You all right.
Yeah. But that's an issue. I'm if you're willing, I'm inviting you right now during that month. I know I want you to come back. But before we close up and wrap up, I want you to leave for the viewers any inspirational nuggets that you want to leave with the viewers.
I guess really just take care of you. We're at a time where it's so much going on where we kind of forget, put your family and yourself first. Take the time to do your self-care. Take that time to do your mental breaks. Take that time to figure out where you want to go in life, and don't be afraid to take chances. A lot of times we live in that bubble, and it makes us, it kind of festers. So to take the time to actually do the things and make yourself happy. Sometimes, we've spent a lot of time working with everyone else that we forget about ourselves. So it's okay to be selfish, because without you, sometimes you're not going to be able to take care of that daughter or that son or your mother or your cousin, all those other people that need you. You have to take care of you first.
I'm writing that down. It's okay to be selfish. Yourself. I love it. So what's next for you? And please tell the viewers, where can they follow you? I have your website scrolling at the bottom, but I want you to make sure you tell them what your Instagram is, your Facebook page, and also your website.
Oh God, my Instagram. I think my Instagram is Miss Capricorn at 71.
Everyone.
Yeah, my Facebook is Adonica Boyd, and my website is dhgoods.com. So it's Donnie's Healthy Goods, but it's dhinggoods.com.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Donica, I want to thank you again so much for being on Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille. Stay in the studio. I'll be right back, okay?
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys, you heard it from my soror, Adonica Ford, my line sister. Now, I have to read it. Well, I know I've read it. This is going to be my third time. Her mantra, helping people educate themselves on how to improve their health. This is something we all need to do in wellness and eliminate debt to obtain financial peace. And then that nugget that I love is okay to be selfish. Just do it. Treat yourself. I love it. I want to thank you all so much for joining in with Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille. I'll see you next Sunday, same place, same time. Don't forget to encourage someone this week, okay? And go pick up Donna Lawrence and go to YouTube and listen to Encourage Yourself by Donna Lawrence and the family. Love you guys. Thank you.